I was working 3 jobs. I was in school full-time. I had my daughter. I was not even old enough to buy alcohol. I was beginning to approach burnout mode, and I knew that that was absolutely not what I wanted to do at all. So I just, I saved up all my tips, and I saved up my tax returns, and I just saved. And I got 2 one-way tickets for my daughter and we left for Guatemala on an adventure. I was raised with a lot of nature, heavily influenced by nature. My dad's very Hawaiian. He ran away in the early 70s and played music and traveled. My mom, she moved up here with her boyfriend with a VW van taped shut full of 16 beehives to come and just live off the land up here. She originally inspired me and then sacrificed everything to have this safe and secure life thing, which was, ultimately maybe didn't bring her the most joy. I didn't consider these limitations that felt like everyone else thought that I should have, because I was a young single mom. Oh, you can't finish school. Oh, you can't go traveling around the world backpacking. I have to be authentic to what my path is, and my path is leading a much more radical life. We basically backpacked through all of Central America, down through South America, just by land, for almost a year, which eventually led to Morocco. To be a specific person other than myself, all of that just kind of vanished, and I started stepping into my spiritual self and living more so based out of that. And then the art and everything I created kind of came out of that. I wanted to use art to communicate and to assist others in communicating things that were just so buried inside of themselves. I just wanted to do more healing work, but I wanted it to be in a creative vein. Essentially, that's what Medicine Collective, I think, has become. Most of my tools that I use are from Morocco, and they're just traditional tools. I had these designs I wanted to do at the time, so I was just kind of searching, looking for this needle in a haystack, and I found the person, and it was became a dear friend of mine. His name's Hassan, and he lives there, and he's a master leather worker. My necklace, some amethyst and elk skin and brass. Yeah, this is from my spring and summer collection of this year. Black tourmaline, it deflects all negativity, either from the inside and outside around you. Pretty much all about comfort, unless I really feel like wearing something weird. It's less about fashion and more of whatever kind of connection I have with that piece at that time in that moment, and that's where I'm at. I'm in this moment, and I feel like wearing this hat right now. It's a Gunny Sacks dress. It's super old. It was hand dyed and painted by an artist in Portland. These are just some handmade pants. They're really comfy because I can do yoga or run around in them. It's a map of the earth without borders. I actually first got those done stick and poke in Nicaragua, which took about 3 hours in the jungle. We arrived really late on the island of Umotepe one night, which is this giant 2 volcanoes in the middle of Lake Nicaragua. It's this pretty magical island. We all fell in love with this Hare Krishna family that had an Indian food restaurant in the middle of the jungle. They needed a mural, and I was like, well, maybe we can set up hammocks in your backyard and we'll paint this mural for you. They had 3 little girls just around the age of my daughter. She got to make a lot of friends all over the world. It was really hard seeing, homeless children with their older sibling that was, 8, I think, but it was also an opportunity to just be real with my daughter. That's how people live outside of Portland, Oregon. Behind the Alhambra in Granada, Spain, there's all these caves where most of gypsy families have been living for hundreds of years, and ended up staying in the caves with the gypsies. I felt a connection to their sense of radical adventure to live in these places that they built. If I had a house and rock and these things, like, I would end up building something very similar and I would gladly live in it. And it was beautiful. Everything that came into our path was very much intended, and we had a really magical journey, and a safe one too. We were very unhindered. We could do whatever we wanted. I felt really inspired. I knew I was exactly where I was supposed to be. I'm just in the process of packing up my studio here and figuring out how I'm gonna do that, and moving everything into our van, and we're driving down to southern Mexico. Ultimately, I know the difference between like something feeling right and then kind of feeling scared or nervous about something. I feel like I went on a fast track with life. It was like from a teenager, and now I'm, still in my 20s. I've been doing the soul searching. I've been doing all of that for the last decade, and raising children, and going to college and working, and starting a business. Like, all of those things have happened, and they're happening now, but I began so early on that now I feel like I get to go deeper.